Friends, Romans, sock puppets, sociopaths, welcome to a belated episode of the Stream of Consciousness. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I know there's been a lot going on, and I've been thinking a lot about it. You common cry of curs, whose breath I hate as reek of the rotten fens, whose loves I prize as the dead carcasses of unburied men that do corrupt my air, I banish you. But here you remain with your uncertainty. Let every feeble rumour shake your hearts. Let every feeble rumour shake your hearts. Your enemies, with nodding of their plumes, fan you into despair. And yet they have the power still to banish your defenders, till at length your ignorance, which finds not till it feels, making not reservation of yourselves, still not your foes deliver as most abated captive to some nation that won you without blows. Despising for you this city, thus I turn my back. There is a world elsewhere. That was Coriolanus in Act 3, Scene 3 of the eponymous play Coriolanus, about a Roman general who, once beloved of the people and who once won great victories, was banished and exiled by effete patricians. What does that remind you of in the last week? I've been thinking about Coriolanus all week. Last week, when we were meant to come on, I joked about it on Twitter that instead of doing Stream of Consciousness, I was just going to come on here and read the entire play. But instead, I just recited that one bit, which was the only bit I could remember. This is, I mean, we you guys, I mean, you're like so tonight, I don't want to see anyone posting about our numbers in the stream, by the way, because there's been some changes on X recently, and we can no longer do I've been like plugging money into this for months. We can no longer do that anymore. We don't get any engagement out of it. So we're only getting raw engagement. These are the actual numbers tonight. No money is going into this. So those of you who are watching know that you are the core audience. You are the core sock puppets. There's no fly-ins tonight. So for those of you who've been with us for a while, you know, we've been through there's been some pretty big fucking yarns, right? Some big yarns in Australian politics. I mean, I think Brian and I first started doing this when like March for Australia first started happening, and then we've been here through the One Nation surge, through TLD, and then more TLD, and then TLD after that. Like, but honest to God, I think that the arrest, when we look back on our lives and on Australian politics over the next few decades, and particularly for those of you who are a lot younger than me, I think we're going to look back and we're going to say that the arrest of Ben Roberts-Smith was probably one of the most important moments in Australian politics, I think maybe in my lifetime, honestly. You know, I make this like really niche, esoteric kind of comparison a lot on my Substack. I frequently refer to William S. Burroughs' The Naked Lunch, and the foreword to The Naked Lunch that was written by J.G. Ballard, where he defined the meaning of the title of the book as being the moment when everyone realized what's on the end of their forks. And I think that's what we're going to look back on this as. You know, there's been so many things that have happened over the last year, 18 months, maybe, where so many of you who watch this stream have kind of like gone, whoa, fuck, that's bad. All the way back to COVID. I mean, like a lot of people woke up to the grave problems with our body politic broadly during COVID, but since then, over the last maybe 6 or so years, there's been these what I call naked lunch moments over and over again, where people like stop and go, shit, man, this is what's on the end of my fork. And I think the moment when the Commonwealth government arrested that man is going to be a moment for our entire generation that we're going to look back and say, well, that was the moment everything changed. That was the moment when, if you didn't realize before, if you didn't realize post-COVID, if you didn't realize, when they started arresting nationalists for holding up signs, if you didn't realize when you turned on your news every night and watched the shit that comes out of these people's mouths, I think this is going to be the moment for a massive cohort of Australians to realize that our country has irrevocably changed. Like, there's no going back from this, right? And that the mythology of Australia that so many of us clung to is now gone, and that we're now living under a new regime. And who the fuck knows what's going to happen from here, right? I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't scared a little bit for the first time. Like, and if you're not scared, then you probably should be. Because what's happening right now in our country is genuinely scary. The myth of competence of the Australian government is now completely gone, right? Because what they've done in the last 2 weeks, I think this changes the game forever. Either the people running the system are so irreparably incompetent and the bureaucracy is so deeply broken that something like this can happen, which is terrifying enough, or that there is some degree of malfeasance. And, this is a kind of, managerial democracy house clearing that's going on. Both scenarios are absolutely terrifying. And unfortunately for this stream, and for me, I think maybe the time for jokes is over. Like, maybe we like to come on here and have a laugh and take the piss out of it. I can't find anything to take the piss out of now, right? So to start off tonight, I'm going to lay out my view on the whole thing. There's been a lot of guys online I haven't said anything about it on main, in a couple of weeks. I tried to make light of it, but, failed. And as a result, I've just kind of gone into my digital shell for a couple of weeks. So instead, I just thought I'd wait till tonight when all our top guys, and I can see you're all in here tonight. Welcome, everyone. Until everyone was online, and I just lay it out in person rather than try and do a long effort post that no one would read. We go back to this core point about not just Australian politics, but politics generally, all over the world. There is this inability right now of people to hold two competing views in their head at the same time. And the ability to hold two competing views in your head at the same time is kind of the defining factor of being good at politics, right? Zealots and ideologues are never good at politics. They wash out. People who are good at it can look at a problem and see the problem and hold the two problems in their head at the same time. I mean, a good example of that, I think, is this whole Palestine-Israel bullshit that we've been subjected to through the Australian mainstream media for the last 12 months, right? It should be possible to know that it is an inherently bad thing to commit a genocide against whoever they are, whether they're Palestinians or anyone, whilst also accepting the fact that it is the preferred outcome for Western civilization for Israel to win that conflict, right? That shouldn't be that hard. And yet that does seem to be very hard for a lot of people. And on so many issues, it seems to be hard for a lot of people. On the Ben Roberts-Smith thing, you can hold two views in your head at the same time. It is in all likelihood the case that by the letter of the law, by the absolute letter of the rules of law that Australia subscribes to, Ben Roberts-Smith committed war crimes. But it is also the case that he should never have been charged with those war crimes in any sane and responsible society. And those are the operative words: sane and responsible. My rationale for that, which might be controversial to some people, and I've deliberately waffled on for a couple of minutes to get us out the other side of the 5-minute YouTube censorship ban, is, reasonably controversial. Right. The rules of law as they stand have evolved out of an Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Celtic, Franco-Norman, Iberian Latin consensus on the idea of chivalric warfare, right? The idea that there should be rules of war goes all the way back to the 12th and 13th century, when the British were making war on our own people, when they were fighting wars in Scotland, when they were fighting wars in Ireland, when they later fought wars in France, right? When there were rules. And those rules were because we all have a shared kind of cultural heritage. We all share certain values. We all live effectively the same. And, whilst we may have political disagreements or occasionally religious disagreements, we are, at the end of the day, a common culture. We went to war with absolutely disastrous consequences with our own people in the early part of the 20th century, in the First World War. We waged war against the Germans, the First Brother War, if you will. Right? And out of that, we get the idea that there must be rules. We couldn't persist this way. We went to war again between European nations in the Second World War. We went to war with the Japanese, who have their own conception of honor, which is different to ours, but at least we could still calculate it, still compute it. And out of that, we get the idea that there would be rules of war and rules by which we'd abide. But it is nonsensical in the 21st century, given what happened in the early part of the 21st century, that those rules and those rules of chivalry should be extended to the people we were making war against. And I think it's an extremely hard thing for a lot of people in the public sphere to accept, but it's very difficult to deny, right? These were people who were willing to attack civilians, who were willing to use their own civilians, whether as human shields, whether as munitions. In the case of Australia, these were people who were willing to break the most fundamental rule of war and disguise themselves as our allies and kill 3 of our own people against whom we had to, hunt down and extract some justice. The idea that men like Ben Roberts-Smith, or the men in his unit, the men who fought alongside him, should have to abide by 100-year-old rules of chivalry with their origin in conflicts against effectively our own countrymen is simply nonsensical. Now, those laws exist; they're in our statutes, and let's go all the way back to how this. Let's go all the way back to how this started. A special commission of inquiry by senior Australian military officials, initially in secret, finds that not just Ben Roberts-Smith, but men in those various units engaged in what they said was conduct unbecoming. That was subsequently the subject of news stories by journalists, who we may get to later, depending on how much I drink. I see Bruce Lerman's in the chat tonight. He might have something to say about that. Which was then the subject of a defamation lawsuit by Ben Roberts-Smith, which, look, I think is one of probably, I imagine if you asked him today, Ben Roberts-Smith would probably say it was the greatest mistake of his life. And as a result, a civil court had to weigh the evidence that the 9 Fairfax Press had uncovered or had leaked to them against a civil standard, and found that on the balance of probabilities, which was very low, these allegations were true. And that's how we ended up here. And now we have a scenario where the Commonwealth government has pulled this man off a plane in front of his 2 daughters and charged him, put him in prison. He's currently in, I believe, Silverwater Jail in an isolation cell pending trial. And I go back to the point I started the show on before after I started quoting Shakespeare, right? I think that moment we're going to look back on and say is absolutely one of the most significant political moments in Australian history. Because for an entire generation of people, we now know what we're really up against, right? If they're willing to do that to him, what are they willing to do to you? What are they willing to do to any of us? I mean, we know what they're willing to do to the weirdest and freakiest of us, but now we know that there are no limits to how far they will go, right? And how far the media establishment will go to justify it. And that, back to my original point, that is fucking terrifying, guys. It's not funny like most of the things we talk about. It's terrifying. Because if you play that out to its conclusion, the conclusions are absolutely terrifying, right? And that's why, what started out as a bit, I keep going back to that point about Coriolanus. I recommend you guys read the play. Where did that end up? When the war hero, beloved by the people, was banished by the effete patricians, where did that end up in the end? I'm not going to say it out loud because, God, they'd probably kick down my door if they could find it. I don't have a door. I live in a cave, but it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. I'm going to try and lighten it up now. So what about One Nation hiring that rapist, right? Anyway, Taylor Martin has made some point about welcome, Taylor, by the way. Welcome to the show, man. Also, DM me, dude, if you want to come on. I can always use the help. We do have Brian coming on later, but yeah, that was a kind of overwrought monologue. I don't know. Let me guys know what you thought in the chat. I'm trying to do something different, you know. I'm conscious of the fact that the algorithm's changed. I'm just trying to get an audience, trying to be serious, trying to do the Tucker Carlson thing. Probably can't do it, but anyway, we're going to go through the chat now and say hi to everyone. Guys, we didn't start with a very good TLD chain, which I can only assume means we've all just accepted the TLD's already happened. We got Muhammad the Great saying I'm gay right up at the top, but then he disappeared. We got Nathan Porter talking about how the numbers are down. Thanks, Nathan. I thought I said don't mention that. Colin Penrose is trying to get Alexa to play different songs at the beginning. Actually, Brian booked all the songs in. So when I start the show, I've got a list of songs I can choose from that Brian chose when we first started the show. And I've tried to actually upload more, but I don't know how to do it. Only Brian knows how to do it. In fact, maybe Brian doesn't know how to do it. Maybe we need to get Enoch, the capybara, back to do it. A couple of weeks ago, I tried to put on, for those of you who are initiated, you know that Murdoch episode where they did the that Proto Men song, Hold Back the Night? I tried to upload that a few weeks ago, but I couldn't do it. So I'm desperate to get new songs on, and we want to change up the intro. We are going to do that eventually. We're talking about, someone's mentioned the White Australia policy. We're going to get to Angus Taylor's just bullshit immigration policy later. Bully Bullpit says it's nice to have me back. Thank you, man. It's nice to be back. Buyback Capital, who's one of our top Gs, is asking what happened the last few weeks' socks. Actually, we can now. Actually, I'll talk to Brian and we'll make sure last week's sock gets put back up online. I was actually meant to go and do something in Sydney with our guys last week, but there were concerns about protesters showing up to an event I was going to speak at. And I'd stupidly, because I get so shit-faced during the stream, I'd actually said like the date and time and location of where it was. So we had to delete the stream. But then because of like a fucking storm in Melbourne, I wasn't even able to get up there in time. So we ended up doing it. So that can definitely go back up. Yeah, we are looking at maybe some kind of alternative to YouTube and X. I'm really not that worried about X, and in fact, it's just nice not to have to fuck around with credit cards to pay Elon Musk $75 so they can have bragging rights that we got 30,000 views every week. Because I don't really care about it that much. And in fact, like we've been going for like 10 minutes, we're almost up to like 1,000 on my end, so it's not that bad. I'm seeing some heavy criticism of my reading of Shakespeare. That's justified. We've got some mentions of Abby Chatfield in there. RG says we went from a 3D capybara to Shakespeare. This stream really does have it all. Yeah, I just wanted to mix it up, man. Like I just thought it'd be fun. I actually thought it'd be fun last week when it happened. Like I thought it would be fun to just read the entirety of the play. But unfortunately, I got bailed up doing other things. Bruce Lerman says the project and Lisa Wilkinson would have done a better job than sloppy Nick McKenzie has done with BRS. And I think Bruce is very much right there. Some of you noticed that he is in the chat. We've got Taran Angove in here. Hello, Race Triets. Yeah. Well, welcome, guys. So yeah, look, BRS is the big news this week. I really think it's going to come to define Australian politics for a while. I have no idea where it's going to end up. Like I followed it really closely, like super closely when it was first happening. It's funny because like I was really interested in it, but I'm one of those like a lot of guys get like super into special forces shit. Like they're like obsessed with it. Like a lot of my American friends are like really into it. Like they buy all the fucking Black Rifle coffee things. I'm not. One of the things that really frustrates me about it is like there is nothing really published about this stuff in like a technical or academic way. I mean, if you want to read about like what Australian Special Forces really did in Afghanistan and Iraq, you're kind of stuck with these vanity project books that are put out by, and like, look, I've been critical of some of these guys in our kind of milieu of content creators, but I will start this by saying that I really think like the guy, what's his name? The Too Fast, Too Furious podcast guy. What's his fucking name? You know the guy I'm talking about, the ex-military guy, like the podcast guy, who we used to mock for always asking guys for coffee. Like, putting all that aside, I think the stuff he's done in the last week or so on BRS, particularly because he's like an ex-serviceman, has been really good. But having said that, I think a lot of the content that comes, Bully Bulbit just said, is Two Worlds Collide. For some reason, it's in my head is Too Fast, Too Furious. But unfortunately, like that's kind of where a lot of the content on this stuff is, right? It's like these ex-Special Forces guys who are obviously prohibited from actually saying anything interesting, who then, get out and they, I mean, good on them. Like they got to make a living, right? I mean, if you ever had any diminished respect for the whole Special Forces, ex-Special Forces content grift before, like I certainly have respect for it now because fuck, these guys are going to risk getting arrested at the airport in front of their daughters. I want them to have a podcast. Like, as a joke, I actually bought that guy a coffee last week. Welcome, Brian. We got Brian in.
Mate. How are you?
Welcome to the show. You missed me doing Shakespeare. Did you see that?
I didn't see it. No, I was out walking the dogs and trying to dodge this freaking man flu I've come down with. It's just a pain in the ass. Anyway.
That's yeah, it sucks we didn't get to catch up in Sydney. I was only there for a couple of days, unfortunately. But yeah.
It's all right.
What are your thoughts on BRS, mate? Because I mean, and look, before we get into it, just so all the guys in the chat know, Brian has been doing an absolutely spectacular job through Revive over the last week, doing, unlike me, who's doing like esoteric bullshit shitposting support for BRS and reading Shakespeare on the stream. Brian has actually been doing something practical and doing a petition. How much is that up to now?
It's about to sail past 12,000 signatures, so it's really blowing up.
12,000 signatures,
which I didn't expect. I kind of was like, if I get 500 or 1,000, that's enough to get someone to table it in the Senate or in the lower house. And it was really just a signaling exercise because Osper was talking about this the other week, and he's absolutely right, which is like this is a huge culturally dividing moment. And what a lot of people don't understand is the way that they've gone after this guy. It feels like the opening salvo of, not to go full Alex Jones here, but like of a Bolshevik revolution. Like,
I alluded to that in the intro, but yeah.
And it feels like if they could take him out Romanov style, they would.
Yeah.
Right? But they can't, so they're going down this pathway.
I mean, I don't want to look, just for our own personal safety, I don't particularly want to get into the fucking Civil War thing, although
sure.
But like it is something I've been thinking about all week, and also also in a small way, like one of the reasons I've been kind of offline for the last couple of weeks, I wasn't able to come on last week, is I've been tied up down here in Tasmania, running this or helping to run this campaign to save the Tasmanian greyhound racing industry, right?
Yeah.
And there's this weird synchronicity between the two things where, like, it just kind of shows you this stark class divide in our country. This divide on class, on tastes, on values that, once upon a time, like when I was a kid, these things were reconcilable. And there were things that would happen in Australian public life, which, the top end of town and the absolute bottom end of town could absolutely agree on. And it just seems like with every single passing day that these people are in power. And by these people, I don't mean Labor, I don't mean Albanese, I mean the current regime. With every passing day they're there, our society is bifurcating so much that I don't think these things are reconcilable anymore.
Well, I don't think that they're reconcilable, but and similar to that, I mean, greyhounds is separate, but the BRS stuff and a lot of this like weird sort of cultural divide that's happening, it really feels like there is a strategic pivot happening across multiple different institutions. And what I mean by that is I saw David Johnston, who just got rolled by some bird in the military. It seemed like he was trying to save his ass because maybe he knew the writing was on the wall. And he was sort of effectively signaling in no uncertain terms a sort of pivot towards a China-focused Australia. We raised this as a risk a few months ago, where we were saying like the worst outcome is not like a hot war with China. It's just that a Labor government decides they're our main trading partner now, and it's like goes beyond just trade. We're now just going to pivot to them as the regional hegemon. So I obviously can't prove this. This is all sort of gut feel stuff, and it's probably a little bit out there. But everything that's happening with BRS right now, the timing of it, the fact that they arrested him when he was in Sydney so they could get a more diverse jury, and obviously then increase the likelihood of actually putting him in jail for the rest of his life.
Which is crazy. And also,
the coordination with the media around it, it all feels like part of this big institutional power play that's going on. And obviously I can't piece it together, but it stinks.
Well, I think you're right, and like I think you like. I mean, this is one thing reactionary right politics has learned since 2016 is that we should always trust our guts. The meme magic is always true, and whatever we feel in our hearts is happening is probably happening. And if it's not, then we can make it happen through just sheer like meme energy. But no, I do absolutely believe you are right, not just on a kind of esoteric level, but also on like a practical level. Like my understanding of the whole Ben Roberts-Smith thing from talking to people not involved in it, but just like orbiting it, is that it is absolutely a kind of coup against the way the military was run from about like 2004 until the end of the War on Terror, to the way that the current bureaucracy wants the military to be run. And that's reflective in the way that like someone like Andrew Hastie, came out against Ben Roberts-Smith. And when you look into the actual channels on and like a lot of them are just on Facebook, like of actual like ex-servicemen and the kinds of things they're saying, you do kind of get this perception that there is a massive, massive divide in the special forces community in Australia, which is a lot larger than you'd think, right? For a country as small as ours, we actually have a deceptively large special forces community because that's where so much of the funding and energy into our military went in the last 10 years. And the message you get back from all those guys is that, well, it was like an us versus them mentality between the officer class and guys like Ben Roberts-Smith who made the sacrifice to drop down to NCOs so that they could get on the teams and do the fucking pipe hitting work. A lot of people don't understand this about the SAS that I didn't even understand until a few years ago when I had an opportunity to work with a guy who used to be in it. That like what we think about as the SAS, like guys who go out to Perth and they do that fucking crazy. I think it's like a 12-week selection campaign where they fucking crawl through fucking mountains naked and shit and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like that. The officers, they don't all do that. Now to Andrew Hastie's credit, I didn't know that either. Like so, basically, like when they go in. Like officers can go in for SAS selection training, but then they come out the other side of it and they're not officers anymore. So an SAS officer and an actual badged member of the SAS who's gone through the whole training are two different things. And so when someone like Andrew Hastie says he's like an SAS qualified officer, that doesn't quite mean the same thing as someone like Ben Roberts-Smith. And they have different fucking berets and the whole. I didn't really comprehend this until I worked with a guy years ago who was actually quite highly decorated SAS officer, not from Afghanistan. He was in Iraq, and he explained it to me, and he said, like he had been an officer, but then he became SAS qualified, and then he was like a lieutenant commanding an SAS unit in Iraq, but. There's like this difference between them in terms of like what their physical and I guess tactical capabilities are, and it also goes back to this point. It's like an interesting technical thing, but like prior to 2004, the SAS was organized not unlike any other regiment in the army, and they were like they were like a regiment, like, and they had like a jungle warfare unit and a desert warfare unit and a mountain warfare unit, and then they had the CT unit. But like over the course of the first the Afghanistan conflict and then Iraq, they kind of evolved into this whole other beast. And one of the most fascinating things for me, if you look at my Substack, I did that piece I did post Bondi about the various problems with our intelligence agencies. One of the most interesting things is that all the kind of paramilitary capabilities of the the paramilitary capabilities of our foreign clandestine service were actually picked up by the SAS during that period. So prior to the War on Terror, the ASIS maintained its own, I guess, like top secret fucking, James Bond type guys with guns who could go do shit. And that's reflected in the funding that they had through the 1990s and 1980s. But post that, and what's clear from every single piece of open source intelligence that's ever been released is that the SAS picked up all that slack.
Yeah.
And so and this is what's really why, and like back to what you said about China, this is what's most worrying about this, right? Is because this whole investigation, the Brereton report, and now this, it looks like it's not just driven a hole through the strategic capabilities of the Australian Defence Force to provide, unconventional warfare capabilities overseas, but it may also have created a vacuum in our ability to actually defend the homeland from whether it's counterintelligence threats, counterterrorism threats, because it seems like from everything that's ever been released, that the SAS was doing all of that. And now the SAS doesn't exist, like in any meaningful way. I mean, like, I think there's still SAS qualified guys who work in the tactical assault groups and I guess do something. I mean, I wrote about the fact that they were actually in the Philippines prior to the Bondi thing. So I guess there's still some guys there, but they got rid of them.
But this is the thing. Like this is the thing that I can't quite crystallize in my mind, but my substantial gut tells me that something's going on, which is like, even bringing it back to Bondi, right? Like you had 2 Star Wars people go and kill innocent Australians, and the pivot was then to crack down on right-wing dissent, right?
Yeah, crack down on the fucking Nazis.
Yeah, and it every step of the way, with every sort of cultural moment or institutional power play, all seem to be trending towards a pivot away from American hegemon and a pivot towards something else, and a pivot towards Project Zimbabwe, right?
Yeah.
And so once you crystallize those 3 things in your mind, what you're seeing kind of all directionally is sort of just slowly pivoting that way. And that's why I sit here and I see this stuff with BRS and I go, no, this is like this stinks way more than it should. And even just on the prospects of the case, it seems clear to me that they're going to really struggle to get a conviction. And they obviously know this, which is why they're trying to increase the odds by having a more diverse jury and all this kind of stuff. But if they know that they're most likely not going to get a conviction, why are they still going through this process?
Why are they still doing it? Yeah, exactly.
There is obviously some other kind of benefit from doing this that is not quite clear to us.
I mean, so my view is, like, if we want to put our fucking conspiratorial hats on, so like option one is
I can put
we'll put the
Australia forever on my hat. And
actually, fuck, dude, I actually think I have a copy of that in here as well. Hold on. No, I moved it. I think there's 2 options, right? One is it's the electoral thing, so it's the save Tony Burke at all costs scenario that we've talked about a lot. I mean, I don't know. Did you see Anthony Albanese did a press release today? He's like there with like Sheikh Al Mohammed bin Moslem.
I think it's partly that, but it's also look. Whether people want to admit it or not, MAGA's in decline. And
100%. And we should get to that at some point.
And I think that these guys can sense that if MAGA is in decline, then come the next election, it'll basically be, on life support. And so now is their opportunity to pivot to Project Zimbabwe, right? Because the sort of scary madman that they have to deal with doesn't have the teeth anymore, right?
Absolutely not. And the Iran thing is going so fucking badly, and markets are reacting so fucking badly to it, which means the Australian economy is reacting so fucking badly to it that we're in a real bind. And I actually think the MAGA kind of decline. I'm not going to say MAGA death yet, but it's the MAGA decline that's probably the only existential threat that Pauline Hanson has to her primary right now, right? Because she got so deep in it.
But exactly, and we've been talking about this for a while, which is then amongst the national populist sort of right in Australia,
Yeah,
there is a need to differentiate your message
absolutely.
away from
Yeah,
Trumpism.
yeah.
And then I see that apparently Advance are going to pump a bunch of money into like MAGA style campaigning, and it's like, okay, well, like,
Yeah,
that seems like
but
a mistake.
if there's one thing we know about Advance, it's that, like, I mean, they're not retards. I mean, I joke about One Nation being like, you know, white hat retards that everyone can get behind, but like Advance, their fundamental problem is they're just uncreative. Like they're not on. Then it's, you know, I was lucky enough early in my career to work for Crosby Textor, the absolute cutting edge of Australian campaign technology. Like we were doing things every single campaign that no one else was doing, when we were like inventing new strategies. Like even when like you're not seeing other new stuff invented, I at least know what innovation looks like. Yeah. And like you're not seeing that anywhere, like nowhere in Australian politics. I mean, like the stuff you and I do every single day might even qualify. It's just we don't have the money, right?
Yeah.
It's just like back then there was like a shit ton of money. Advance, I think, are just crippled by, you know, they have money, like they actually have cash to do things. They're just crippled by a terminal lack of creativity. There's a really good Substack piece I saw this week, and it was about like the autistic schizo matrix, like the idea that on one side of the spectrum there's autists and on the other side of the spectrum there's schizos, and like autists are the guys who go on to start tech companies, and schizos are like really good at like creative thinking. And I was actually, when I saw that thing about Advance the other day, I was like, you know what? That's the problem. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of really good autists in Advance, but they need some schizos. Like, they need someone to come up with something new and something that is, you know, uniquely Australian. I mean,
well, this is the thing, right? Is like at the end of the day, when you're that big of an organization, you are kind of risk averse, right? And the schizos are risky. The autistics are not. Yeah. Like, you give the autistic an Excel sheet, you give them like some pouch food, and let them go and look at trains every now and again, and they'll go and get the tasks done. A schizo will come in and probably come up with a great idea one day, and then the next day get in a fight with the boss. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what I do. Like, like I come in and I like have one amazing idea, and I'll trade off that for a week, and then I'll just like, you know, get too drunk, and I won't be contactable for a month. But we do have some of that interesting energy in Australia right now. I mean, look, Ozpill's one really good example of it. I've been getting deep into Australian right-wing TikTok this week.
Yeah, me too. I've been like trying to ignore.
Yeah, have you been doing that too? Like, I saw a bunch of anons posting about how like the really good energy on there, and so I've been getting into it. And like, obviously, I started with Ozpill because, you know, we all know him, and so from that as a jumping off point, like getting into a lot of that, like I don't know what you call it, like, you know, early Gen Z kind of right-wing culture online. Like, there is some really fun stuff going on out there. Like, so,
but even outside of politics, there's like fun accounts just posting what is essentially like full groip right-wing ideas, but separated from politics. Like there's a guy on Instagram, runs a shop, I think in Perth, called Panel House, and all he does is sell fucking like you know, spare parts for cars and like, you know, replacement doors and bonnets and stuff. But his reels are about as right-wing as they get, and somehow tied to the sale of you know, selling a fucking door for a BA Falcon. So
the funniest like Australian politics adjacent story in the last 24 hours, forget about anything Anthony Albanese's done, right, is the fact that, have you heard about Clavicular went on 60 Minutes, but they got the Australian guy to interview? Oh, dude, you got to watch the interview. Like, because he gets up and leaves, and he just mogs the guy so hard, like, just destroys him, because he's this like classic Australian like libtard journalist.
Like journo.
So he's like an Australian journalist. Like, I don't even know the guy. Actually, one of the guys in the chat actually DM'd him before and said that he does know him. But without even knowing him, I know that he went to Charles Sturt University, because he has that exact like bloke who went to Charles Sturt University and did journalism face. And he starts like smiling and going like, "Oh, are you part of the incel community or something?" And he just fucking destroys him and says like, "Well, I don't know. Do you cheat on your wife? Like maybe you should look smacks, and then that wouldn't happen." And then he just gets up and walks off. It's beautiful, and like watching it, like you're just thinking, "Fuck, man, Australia sucks now." Like remember. Because how many times
is it these young guys just on first principles they kind of get things, which is like they understand that actually it's okay to disrespect corporate journalists. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know, right? Which is one of my big struggles with
zero
clients
media
every
training
day.
that you don't have to answer their questions. You can just
you can mock them
you want and then leave.
Yeah. and they're fucked. Like they booked the interview with you. They have to report it. And so all these videos of this journo getting absolutely fucking destroyed. They have a 60 minutes times, like a 60 minutes watermark on it. 60 minutes, put it online. So you've got your own journalist just getting fisted by this guy. Yeah. And in 60 minutes puts it on their own
was
channel.
Like, yep, put it out.
Put it out, yeah. We'll get the likes, we'll get the clicks.
Well, but this is the thing, like their target audience is like, you know, is like octogenarians named Prue, right? And they're probably watching it being like, "Oh, that young man's so rude." Meanwhile, everyone else is like, "Hey, that guy's kind of cool."
Yeah. Meanwhile, everyone who's watching the edits online, watching the clips, is going, "That guy fucking rules." So it's like even like society is now becoming so bifurcated that it's even happening on the channels. So these people are making content for what they think is their audience, and then it's finding a whole other completely separate audience online who are utterly code switched on it. Like they don't see the same thing in it. So they're putting this on live TV, and the live TV audience is sitting there going, "Oh, the incels and the looksmaxers are a huge problem. We need to crack down on this." And that's like, I don't know, like 100, 200,000 people. And then like 1 billion fucking people are seeing it on X going, "That's cool. That's awesome. I'm going to make an edit about that." Yeah, that was spectacular. Like,
I'll have to give it a watch. I haven't watched much of his content because I'm just too old for that kind of stuff, I guess. But I
know, dude. I'm exactly the same. I see the clips, but like there's no way I could actually sit through the whole thing. But like I support it. Like I don't like not like it. I'm too old to watch that shit like for any particular period of time.
I can when I watch reels, I can feel my brain being like melted. Like I know that I do not have the physiological capacity at this age to deal with it. Like it feels like that content is fine to absorb when you're like 15 to 25, and then after that, it's just.
Do you know what though? Like the actual algorithmic model is it's kind of age agnostic. Like even. Like I find myself sometimes I'll be just sitting in bed at night and can't sleep, and I'll just because I don't have like I don't watch it on my phone. I just watch it on TV. But like I'll get on YouTube, and like YouTube will do like the little shorts. Like I'll find myself losing an hour and like because the algorithm will just serve me like Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah, it's just Neon Genesis Evangelion clips. Emma Myers interviews from the Wednesday press tour, some gun videos like Garand Thumb and Norm Macdonald like clips. That's it. And I'll lose a whole fucking hour to it.
Yeah, and it goes like that. And then after the hour's over, I feel like I've like
I feel dirty. It's almost like post nut clarity. Like I'll just like get out the other side of doing. Go, what the fuck was that? I just got raped by the fucking YouTube algorithm. Yeah. And now I feel bad. I got to go outside and like touch grass. I feel bad for.
I just saw this pop up. It's completely separate, but it's just like Peter Credler's on the verge of announcing she's going to run for the Victorian state election.
Yeah, I heard that earlier, but I'm not 100% sure. I've got a window open, getting some updates. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, we can talk about it later, I guess. I don't know. It's
well, I think at some point, because it's what time is it now? It's like 8:50. I have a strong suspicion, if I know how fucking lazy the Victorian Liberals are, that we'll get some kind of update at some point during the show.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben's saying we sound old. Fuck you, Ben. You're the same age as me. Right?
Thanks for signing the petition, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, also donate to Revive. Yeah.
Well, I got to talk about that actually. I've been meaning to put something together because, like I set the BRS petition up, and we were talking about it in the group chat as to whether we should do it. And I had hesitations at first because I was like, look, I don't want to slop post because this is a really serious issue. And I only want to do a petition if it's actually going to have some, even if it's just like a cultural signaling exercise. So I didn't put it together until I had a rock solid agreement from some MPs that they would table it in Parliament in due course. But some people said, "Oh, you're going to fundraise for it." No, I'm not, because I don't want to make money off a dude being in fucking prison.
Yeah.
I've seen, like, I saw a reel from Big Chocky slinging like Timu t-shirts.
I saw that. And it was spelled wrong. Did you see that?
Well, yeah, right. So like, someone sent a screenshot of it, and like in the promo material, it looked like it was spelt wrong. And then they've obviously
it was an AI. No, although I think Big Chocky went on his show later and like he said that the picture of the t-shirt was AI, but the real t-shirt was real. I'm not defending Big Chocky. I'm just saying like that was his explanation. Like, not that I watch a lot of Big Chocky content, but
no. Well, this is the thing. Like, it was blowing up, right? Because like BRS had just been arrested. This thing, like they turned around a design and had it up in like 2 or 3 days. It was everywhere. Like on Facebook, like the video had like 20,000 likes. On Instagram, it was blowing up. So just every time I opened social media, within like 2 or 3 scrolls, I was seeing this fucking ad for a t-shirt, and it really leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because it's like, this dude who's an Australian hero could potentially spend the rest of his life in prison, and you're like raising like you're raising money off a slop shirt. Like, you know what? If all the funds are going towards a legal fund, or like to, I don't know, pay for his snacks and darts when he's in jail, okay, I'll eat my right. But if it's just buy the shirt to show your support and I'll make a buck, what the fuck?
But that's what finally got me into Too Fast, Too Furious, aka Two Worlds Collide, was because you know how we used to like take the piss out of him for always posting on X and saying buy me a coffee. Well, I noticed, and it was so glaring that I went back and checked. But his like post about Ben Roberts-Smith was like the first post he ever did where he didn't ask for a coffee.
Yeah, no, look, I got to say,
and I was like, I respect that. I respect the fact that you didn't ask for a coffee.
The coffee judgment.
Dude, did you watch? Did you
at the moment? Like, good on him. He's putting out some good content right now.
Okay, but we haven't gotten to what he did today, right? So,
shit.
Did you watch?
Maybe I take back the take back.
Did you watch Channel 7 tonight? Like,
no. This is the thing. I don't watch normal stuff anymore. I
know. I'm bad. I watch it all, and like I pretend to the guys on Twitter that I like have an AI that watches it all, but the truth is I actually watch everything.
So what happened?
And so I mean, good on him. Like, I mean, you know how excited we get when we get any kind of mainstream exposure. So Bamford was actually on every single Channel 7 news broadcast tonight because he had Shane Warne's son on his podcast yesterday, Jackson Warne, and he's a cool kid. Like, I haven't watched the whole thing, but like he went on the podcast and he basically just said, "Yeah, my dad was killed by vaccines." So it just triggered this fucking like massive overreaction from the media, where like they're all going out to like, you know, virus experts from universities like disputing it. Like, it's the funniest thing.
No, that just you know what? I triple take it all back. I'm full Bamford pilled now. Good.
Dude, I'm increasingly becoming Bamford pilled. I know we've got some guys in the chat who think. I know he's like, some guys in the chat say he's not like based enough on some of the geopolitical.
Yeah, but we're not based enough. Like,
yeah, well, we're not based enough either, and
like no one is.
Yeah, I know. We'll just never be based enough. Like, but no, I thought that was pretty cool. But like, just the fact that he got on every major news network tonight.
Yeah, good.
And like, it's not even going to help his audience. Like, no one who saw him on Channel 7 tonight is going to go, "Oh, I'm going to go buy him a coffee." Like,
I'm really happy.
It was just such a good troll.
I'm really happy to hear that he hasn't like tried to link donations to the BRS stuff. It just seemed like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I know that was good. But I think like I forgot. You forget sometimes because he's always online asking for coffees that he is actually an ex fucking pipe hitter himself. So
yeah.
And good for him. Like, I would suggest to him, instead of doing the buy me a coffee thing, he should do like the US Navy SEAL, like start your own coffee brand thing. Like if he had his own like Black Rifle coffee,
shit, right? Like
Bamford's Brew, yeah. Well, if you're watching this, Scott, like you probably will at some point.
Two beans collide.
Two beans collide.
Mate, I'm giving you free business advice.
With like an M4 carbine, like the
a fucking coffee. Like I just
yeah. Buy us a coffee for giving you the amazing idea of starting your own coffee bean brand. Yeah. The thing is, like the American guys who do it, like they have so many more opportunities for money. Like so many guys I follow on Instagram who are like ex special forces guys, like they have like little like it's like there's a I can't remember what it's called, but it's like Etsy for operators, and they sell all these like like vintage surplus fucking rare camouflage smocks, and like the only thing I've ever ordered off one is a guy had like a woodland camo wizard hat that I really wanted. So like they sell that kind of stuff online and like play carriers and shit. But see, we don't have that here because you can't own guns. So like there's no like appetite for buying like military gear that a lot of the guys in the US shill. So I guess all Bamford has is buy me a coffee, watch my podcasts, and we'll get Jackson Warren on to deny vaccines. But Fred makes us tactical jock straps. Just two worlds collide on your jock strap. That's another one, dude. We should work for this guy. Like,
100%. Well, he's pretty close with Challen. I think they kind of work together on the lobby group stuff. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah. What's been going on with that? Because we were going to talk about that a couple of weeks ago. Remember when there was? I think we did talk about it. What came of the whole Beck Freedom meltdown? Because they're doing the Anzac Day thing.
So Beck had a meltdown with Ozpil because Ozpil thinks that a marching organisation should be focused on marching, and then if you have an organisation that's focused on like community engagement, then that's a separate entity.
Yeah.
So my understanding is she's now created Fight for Australia.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then Scott's got the Australian Lobby Group, and they're working on some big rally down in Canberra, I think, on Anzac Day. So Ben,
I don't want to protest on Anzac Day. I don't. And like, mate. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like, I think I said that about Australia Day as well. Like, I mean, I guess you then get to the point, like, when do we protest? But I don't know. Like, we've got to have.
There's certain days where I'm like, it should be about something else, right? Like, that's why I was like all in on August 31st, because it was just a random day.
Yeah, because that's what was good about August 31st, right? Because it was just a random day and we could all do it. I don't know, but now they're going on this whole thing where they want to like boo. I don't know if they've said they're going to boo or if they're going to turn their backs or something on the work in the country, whatever. They did actually, to give them credit. I don't know if this was on Beck's account or if it was on one of the affiliated ones. They did say something the other day that I actually thought was kind of cool. that they wanted to, on Anzac Day, go to Silverwater Prison and blast the last post out of speakers so BRS could hear it.
Is that going to be post his bail hearing? Because obviously standing around with some signs probably isn't going to have any effect on a bail hearing, but on the 1% chance that it does, I just feel like you should probably stay back.
Yeah.
So I don't know when his bail hearing is, right?
No, I don't know either. And I don't know what's really going on with that. Like, I feel like it's almost a deliberate tactic by BRS's guys. And good on him, because like if anyone's going to be able to do like a stint in Silverwater isolation, I guess it's probably him. I mean, he's probably had a fair bit of training for it. Like he might be able to get by. Bruce Lehrman's in the chat, who knows a lot about legal shit. He says it's on Friday, so
look, I mean, my advice to the Chuds would be, look, don't do anything publicly until after Friday. So let's
find out what happens on Friday.
I'm going to be doing a stage 2 of the BRS campaign through Revive. And you guys will see what that's about. But I don't want to do it until after the bail hearing, because it's one thing to say, like, look, we hope that he has a fair trial, and we acknowledge his contributions to the country. Standing around with a bunch of signs and setting yourselves up to look like pariahs during a bail hearing, I think, don't do it.
And that extends to, if he does get bail, like, I think that's when everyone kind of has to stand by and stand down, just because you don't want to get his bail fucked up. Like, it's
my punt is that he's not going to get bail.
Well, this is a really interesting question, right? And it goes back to that initial thing we were talking about. Like if I was the Prime Minister right now, like I would, and like say this had all happened without my knowledge, I'd be now saying to the Attorney General, like, make sure that motherfucker makes bail. Get him the fuck out of prison as quickly as possible. Because I've spoken to lawyers who actually both Bruce and I know, but know a lot of lawyers who are also do military work, and everyone says the same thing. Like, this is 2029 for this trial. So it won't. It's like 4 years off before he is going to be in a courtroom defending this. So, and I think that was also the message that was given, like the kind of oblique message that was given by the prosecutors when they did that initial hearing. Because you see, the judge went off at them and said, "Why the fuck aren't you prepared?" So you can't keep that guy in prison between now and then out. I mean, imagine if he's still in prison in 2028. We're in the middle of a federal election.
It's just going to be a huge radicalizing force.
Crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Jack's saying local court will deny, Supreme Court will grant. I could sort of see that happening. Yeah.
Jack's a friend of mine. Actually, definitely knows what he's talking about. So yeah, I could see that happening. Look, you know me, man. Like, I always like going the most schizo option on things, but I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just getting soft in my old age, but I don't want our country to completely collapse before the next election. Like, at least let us have a ballot on to the extent to which our country collapses. Like, But this is the thing. Like, Anthony Albanese just seems intent on not doing that. I mean, for a guy who spends every fucking day standing up going, "Oh, my social cohesion, like we need to encourage social cohesion," and then he just doesn't give a fuck about it when it comes to the white Anglo-Saxon majority of this country, and then just goes, "Oh yeah, we'll just lock up your war hero. We don't care."
It's because he's smart, right? He's smart enough to know that you say one thing and you just slowly tinker around the edges to do the other. And when anyone steps out of line to actually criticize it, well, thankfully, you've got a whole bunch of hate speech legislation in place now to just throw them in fucking prison, right?
Hey, Wild Colonial Girl just asked an interesting question, which I actually know the answer to. Why isn't it a military prison? Why isn't it being held in a military court? A jury of his peers can't be found in the general public. Well, here's an interesting fact that I came across during the week. After Ben Roberts-Smith left the army, as a former VC winner, and even despite the defo and everything that came out of the bullshit 9 Fairfax stuff, he was actually a member of the reserves until very recently. He was still a member of the reserves. And as a member of the reserves, he would have been, had they done this a few weeks ago, he would have been entitled to everything you just said. Something that's gotten lost, and and I've talked about this before, but given recent events, I'm less confident talking about it. There was a story, just in terms of talking about like why I know about this stuff. There was a story on the exact same day that Ben Roberts-Smith got arrested. A young guy in his early 20s was also arrested on the same day by the Australian Federal Police because he had travelled to Ukraine.
That's right.
And been you know the story I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. He was like he joined their Foreign Legion, right?
And was right. He had joined the Foreign Legion. Now, here's a really interesting thing, which goes to your point about the extent to which all this stuff is deliberate. Do you remember the Malcolm Turnbull era foreign fighter laws?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when he passed those laws that said it was against Australian law to travel to a foreign jurisdiction and fight for a foreign government?
Yeah, in like 2017 or something.
Yeah, exactly. So pre-2022. Now, between 2017 and 2022, and there's if you know deep McGowan law, there's a very obvious reason why I know about this stuff. Between 2017 and 2022, had you have traveled to Ukraine and been in Donetsk and Donbass or somewhere under arms, you would have been in breach of the foreign fighter laws.
Yeah.
But in 2022, when the war began in earnest, the Australian federal government, well, they didn't change it. They just like highlighted a definition in the original act that said it didn't apply to someone fighting for an actual foreign government. Now, this provided cover for two classes of people. It provided cover for certain people who might have gone to a certain Levantine country to fulfill their, birthright duties to fight for a certain Levantine country's military. But it also, because the Ukraine military in 2022, they got rid of all those, like the militias, like the Azov divisions and everything, and they put them all under the command of the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. It meant that everyone who was over there was covered by the fact that they were effectively fighting for the Ukrainian military. Now, this bloke would, under normal circumstances, have been protected by that. But there's a separate law for Australian servicemen. And they prosecuted him. And this is so fucked. But they're prosecuting him because he was a member of the Australian Defence Force Reserves when he travelled to Ukraine and was a drone operator. But they waited until he was no longer a member of the reserves to actually bring the charges.
Right.
And the source I was talking to told me that when you leave the reserves, like, well, for whatever reason, like when you wash out, like they process all the washouts like at the same time. So that's why they did them both on the same day, because Ben Roberts-Smith had already quit the reserves, but the paperwork didn't go through until that day when he was arrested. In the same way that this 28-year-old bloke, his paperwork leaving the reserves didn't go through on that day. So the AFP were able to charge the drone guy for the offence of fighting for a foreign government while a member of the reserves, but they're able to bring it in a criminal court because his reserve service was ended.
Wow.
How fucking crazy is that whole case?
It's crazy, but it also...
They are fucking allies?
So this is what I'm getting at, right? This is what I'm talking about, where I'm saying every single institutional play and every single little shift that's happening right now is a pivot away from our existing alliances and our existing institutional arrangements.
Yeah.
The Ukraine war is a US proxy war. We entered it in certain capacities to back our global supreme empire.
Well, don't get me started on that. You know, I have thoughts on the Ukraine war.
Well, yeah, but so if we're now charging people as criminals for doing something that a few years ago, like man, when I was walking around the halls of Parliament back 2022, 2023, I won't say which office I was in, but I went into an office and I met a couple of people, one of whom had just come back from being in the Foreign Legion, right? And he was there like to plug sending more money towards Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I know the exact guy you're actually talking about, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've gone from that to this outcome, and it is representative of what I'm talking about here, which I haven't been able to fully crystallize it, but it's setting off the fuckery meter where I'm going,
yeah,
what's going on? What is this?
You want to get real. You what's the line from Jack Nicholson in Batman? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah,
right? Like, I mean, and someone in the chat just said, "Hey, this is some real Alex Jones shit, but it's actually good." Okay, well, let me put my fucking Alex Jones hat on for a minute. What if the current regime is trying to take out anyone who's not politically aligned with the managerial democracy project, but has the kind of training and skills that could pose a threat to it? I mean, have we considered that? Right? Which goes back to my point about...
If there's a national populist uprising happening in Australia, well, what do? You take out any...
Yeah, I mean, dude, like you and I could do some good memes, but we're not exactly going to trade in the fellas how to operate a drone, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, okay, this is how you open Canva.
Yeah.
All right. And this is
okay. Now this is how you put the David Lynch background on. It's you upload the picture to StreamYard and then you hit Control F.
Now, end your anonymous X account with Groiper and call everyone a cuck. That's it's not the same.
Install Telegram on your Android burner phone. We can't run an insurgency like a real one. We can run a kind of meme one, but we can't run an actual insurgency. But isn't it weird that in the last couple of weeks the federal government just seemed to be going around arresting all the guys who could run an actual insurgency?
Yeah.
That's, and again, I go back to the point I made with a straight face in the beginning. That it should fucking terrify you.
Yeah.
Right? Because a strong, united Commonwealth with faith in its people would not be doing this stuff, right? I think, and we talked about this like the last time we were online. Like, you know, you and I both kind of started this stream and started our original spaces mocking those fucking losers from the sovereign citizen movement.
Yeah.
But you look at the way Albanese kind of overreacts to them.
Well, because it's like they're the perfect boogeyman to point at, right? And then equate everyone else under that banner.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were confident in your ability to run the country, you wouldn't be scared of those people. Like, those people have always existed in our society. There's always been fucking weirdos who don't want to, abide by the mainstream rules. A very small percentage of them. But previous regimes, like, we're not going to fucking talk about them because it'll just give them legitimacy. But now we have a regime that is like legitimately scared of them. Yeah. And that should worry everyone. Like, even if you don't subscribe to sovereign citizen ideology, you should be terrified about the fact that Anthony Albanese considers them a threat.
Yeah.
Because we didn't used to consider these people a threat. We just considered them like a part of the patina of everyday life in a liberal democracy. Like, oh yeah, well, we're a free country, so some people are going to be fucktards.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't think like that anymore. Now we think those fucktards could do fucking January 6th. And I don't think even you'd go this far for January 6th. I think they're even more terrified of them than that, given the way they're overreacting. But yeah. Yeah, we got some Desi Freeman conspiracies in the chat. I have friends in the cops, and I don't think there is a Desi Freeman conspiracy. I think they really did waste that guy.
Yeah.
But And good for them. I would have done the same thing if I was the cops.
Yeah.
Apparently they couldn't identify. Apparently they couldn't identify the body.
Oh, nice. They really took him out, huh?
Dude, 20 fucking rounds, and you know those guys aren't shooting for the center mass. Like,
yeah.
22 2-3s in your dome, you would not be recognizable.
Where I was like, yeah, look, like he had it coming, and they were like, oh no, like whether he shouldn't have done what he did, but he was still standing up for freedom. It's like we don't get to talk anymore. Sorry, like.
Yeah, I have no tolerance for that shit. Like, just don't kill cops. Like, you know, the average cop is just an ordinary fucking. And my respect for cops just comes from the fact that, like, who fucking signs up to be a cop nowadays? You imagine the kind of fucking, you know, patriotic nerd that wants to be a cop. Like, the kinds of irony-pilled guys like you and I that we hang out with, like, we could never fucking understand it. Like, you know, and we should probably get to the Angus Taylor immigration thing, but like, even if Angus Taylor became prime minister tomorrow and started ICE, like, I wouldn't join.
I'm going to come back.
I'll be too irony pilled.
I'll be 5 minutes. I just dogs on ballistic downstairs. I'll come back.
Okay, yeah. Last time Brian did this, he was like half an hour. So I can actually see him on the no, he has really gone. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm not Desi framing conspiracy pilled, and you know I love conspiracy theories, but that one I just don't think's a really great one. I'm just going back through the chat. We're gonna get some more comments out. We got some reposts. Thanks, guys. We're actually doing okay numbers despite the new algo and the lack of promo. So thanks to everyone who might be joining us for the first time. Welcome to the Stream of Consciousness. I am John McGowan, Australia's weirdest political commentator. That was Brian Marlow, Australia's most studious political commentator who runs Revive Australia, currently trying to rally support for our Coriolanus, Ben Roberts-Smith. I got someone in the chat saying I'm a controlled deep state agent, possibly. That I love the deep state. Ben says it's time for John to talk about Abby Chatfield. I have not seen any Abby Chatfield news all week. Actually, you want to talk about like Australian Floyd news? Have you guys seen the Ruby Rose accusations against Katy Perry? You guys seen this shit? It's all over Twitter, right? Ruby Rose, Australia's butch lesbian sweetheart, has made an allegation about something that happened between her and Katy Perry 20 years ago, which I'm not going to repeat because I don't want to get sued by Katy Perry because she's very litigious. But it's pretty hectic. I don't know. We got Bruce in the chat. Maybe Katy Perry is going to be my next client. That's an option for me going forwards. But yeah, I haven't seen any Abby Chatfield content in so long. So if you have any funny Abby Chatfield content, please send it to me because you know how much I love laughing at it. I'm always looking for new internet Australian e-girl content. Green Goblin says Chatfield is thinking of moving out of Sydney, is considering Tasmania. Well, I can show her around and show the sites. We got Dark Mofo coming up. Actually, some of you in the chat have DM'd me just recently about coming down for Dark Mofo. Guys, we'll do a Stream of Consciousness like live Dark Mofo event if we get enough people down here. Because it's basically my favorite time of the year. You know, best fucking music, great food. You know, they put giant glowing upside down crucifixes everywhere. I fucking love it. Matthew Clark says, I heard Tasmania is terrible. Don't move there. Didn't you see my tweet today about how big my oysters were that I got today? It was fucking insane. I love Tasmania. It's fantastic. What else is going on, guys? What's the highlight of my week? Oh, look, I got. You want to do like McGowan's pop culture hour? Probably won't be an hour because Brian will be back in a second. But I was super into the first episode of season 3 of Euphoria last night. You guys see this? it was getting some buzz on Twitter because Sydney Sweeney's like dressed up as a dog or whatever. But I think like it is so much better than that. And if you're one of those people like me who is just constantly complaining about how fake and gay most Hollywood content is, like the fact that this guy Sam Levinson got this like incredibly subversive piece of media and produced it with all these massive celebrities, some of the biggest names in Hollywood right now. Just in the first episode, you have a gay recovering drug addict finding God and having a positive encounter with a house full of Texas anti-technology Christians. You have a tacit condemnation of OnlyFans culture. You have mockery of like the blue-haired cultural Marxist Hollywood writers' rooms. Like every single other scene in that show just has some like new subversion of like modern liberal content. It is absolutely worth a watch. I reckon it's the most subversive thing that's been on like mainstream television since like True Detective season 1. Not everyone's loving that. Oz Schizoid says, why would you watch that J-Star-ish filth? Well, it's TV, dude. Like, you know who makes all of it. Ben says John loves a good teen drama. Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah. Matthew Clark's admitting that season 2 was good. Yeah, watch Euphoria. I really like it. Like, it's not for everyone. Like, if you've got good Christian sensibilities and you don't like confronting content, maybe don't watch it. But Rancid Piss in My Ass, one of my favorite commenters in Stream of Consciousness, says, what show are you talking about? I'm talking about Euphoria on HBO Max. Definitely watch it. Yeah, it's really good. I'm not saying like it's like True Detective. I'm just saying that like in terms of subverting liberal media expectations, it is subversive. Yeah. Schizoid is saying it's anti-white goy slop. Dude, fucking watch it, man. Because it is not anti-white goy slop at all. At the end of season 1, the main character, her black Nation of Islam, what's it called when you're a drug addict and like a sponsor, right? Like her sponsor getting clean, gives I think it's like a 15-minute monologue about how Black Lives Matter is pointless and it doesn't work. And then in the next episode, the trans character sits down with her therapist and talks about how she doesn't want to be trans anymore. Like the whole point of the show, the whole central conceit of Euphoria is it's essentially holding up a mirror to like mid-Zoomers and saying your lives suck because of middle-class white-hating liberals. That's what the whole show is about. And so much of Hollywood, I just don't think got that when it came out. And then as the show rolled on, I think they started to get it. And they went, oh, shit, we can't support this anymore because it's actually about how all the values that are promoted through mainstream media are actually toxic and hateful. That's what the show's about. Like all the sex, all the drugs, all the violence are not there to titillate. They're to show you that the things that have happened in our society in the last decade have caused like unimaginable harm to young people that, you know, we have to somehow, whether it's politically or socially or culturally, undo. And so, yeah, dude, it is not anti-white goy slop. Bully Pulpit says, no way John doesn't know about a sponsor. Dude, I've never been in recovery, man. I am. You guys are my recovery. I just, I only just get drunk every Tuesday night now. Yeah. I got some comments about Xenophon. What's Xenophon doing? Haven't seen it. Conquer the World 29 says, have you watched The Boys? Yeah, dude, I watched the first couple of seasons, and then I think the third season sucked. But I'm an old nerd. I actually read the comic books when they first came out. Don't get me started on my thoughts on Garth Ennis, the writer of that stuff, and why it was never meant for television. The early seasons were good, though. The first couple of seasons were good. But then it just got shit. Yeah. But like this year for TV has been really good. Like I really liked the Game of Thrones one. You guys seen that? Night of the Seven Kingdoms? I mean, again, another subversive show. Whoever just said John read the Bible when it first came out, fuck you. Yeah. Taylor Martin's saying, tell us your thoughts on Rip It Low and Restore Britain. Everyone's just scratching around for some kind of niche relevance, I think, and trying to capture this energy that is online that predominantly young guys are promoting, that the major parties aren't grasping. That's all it is, you know. And I think, the death of the Conservative Party in the UK has left this massive power vacuum. And I just don't think Farage has succeeded in capturing all of it. And that's why Restore exists. Right. So, and I think a similar thing will probably happen here before 2028. To be frank, like I kind of hope it doesn't. Like my preference is that, we kind of go into the 2028 election just united around Hanson just to see what happens. Like, I just want to see what happens. But it's probably not going to go down that way. We will probably have something similar. But I don't know if any of us could predict who that person's going to be. It could even be Taylor. Could be anyone. Could be me. Could be Brian. Could be Bruce in the chat. Who knows? We just don't know. But I do suspect that there will be some kind of counter signaling of One Nation sometime in like early 2027. So I think we're going to get through this year. But I feel like over Christmas, like if One Nation's handling of their rapist staffer is anything to go by, I'm not very optimistic about the next 12 months. And I'm not very optimistic about their capacity to vet candidates, and I'm not very optimistic about their capacity to, keep their shit together for the federal campaign. What else we got in there? Did we cover that? We missed last week, so we haven't done Moira Deeming versus. Actually, did we do Moira Deeming last week? Oh, that's right. We did do last week, and then I had to delete it. Yeah, so we covered that. There was something else we were going to talk about this week. We were going to do one. Oh, yeah. Angus and his immigration policy. Welcome back, dude. I'm just getting started on Angus. So we're going to, I covered off on all the pop culture news of the week, and I tried to convince all the guys to watch Euphoria. Mm-hmm. Now we're covering off on Angus Taylor's immigration policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do a monologue on that while I run to the bathroom?
Well, I didn't say a lot about it, but the crux of the argument was, go for it. The crux of the argument that I saw was that it's still values based, whatever that means, right? So at the end of the day, no matter how hard the talking points are, it's still this CivNat bullshit that just doesn't fly. And sure, this is why I'll expose myself as not being based enough. Like, there's always going to be an exception to the rule, but like this CivNat stuff just has to die, man. It's done. Like, put it in the past. And I saw some clips of what Angus was saying, and then the sort of effort posting by like Sky and others to, make this look like a new based and right-wing trad-pilled Taylor opposition. It's all just bullshit. Everyone can see that the only reason they're shifting is because one nation has taken out the ground from under them. This feels... How do I explain this? This feels like the reform versus restore scenario, although one could argue that one nation is reform and that we don't have a restore. But all this is like a ChatGPT inspired copy paste pivot on right wing talking points, and no one buys it. The average guy at home who isn't actually politically engaged, but they're backing one nation all the way because they're just sick of the current shit fight. They're doing it because they don't trust the coalition. I spoke to someone today. There still are a couple of good people that work within the operations of the federal coalition, and they were saying, "Oh, what do you think about it?" And I said, "Look, the problem here is that no one trusts you." Angus Taylor could go out tomorrow and say remigration is our official policy, and if millions need to go, then millions must go. Right? He could just copy paste and run it through ChatGPT, everything that Rupert Lowe says, and then put it out there on press releases. No one believes the Liberal Party on anything that they say, and it is going to take years for them to get that back, if it's even possible. And so it's a day late and a dollar short. It's complete horseshit.
TLDs. So I think I wasn't paying that much attention to it today until we came on the stream, and I've just been reading about it. I think the funniest thing for me about it is, like, one, this is narrowly focused to, like, so how Taylor's defined it is countries that don't have liberal democracies. So he's gone out there and he's said, like, and it's basically like it's effectively a sop to the Indian government, right? Like, he's basically saying, like, oh, well, we're only going to restrict it to countries that aren't liberal democracies. Well, Angus, what about China? Like, has anyone stopped and thought about that? Like,
exactly.
He clearly hasn't thought about it. Like, he's just stood up there. Also, just, I don't know, like, it's, I don't want to encourage people to watch the mainstream media, but, like, if you watch it on the news tonight, like, he's at the Menzies Centre, and it's just the most depressing room full of the least dynamic and vital people you have ever seen. Like, at a time when
it's full of, like, do you remember, like, Gil from The Simpsons? The, like, down and out guys, like we try and sell a computer,
in, like, a brown suit, like, man, it's just,
geez, man, you got to vote for the coalition.
Pathetic. Like, it was an absolutely pathetic announcement. So now we're just going to make the values tests enforceable. Okay, well, so I saw John O'Doniam, who I've kind of glazed on the stream before, because I like Jono, but like, they put Jono out on it this morning, and the poor fucker, like, they put him up on ABC 24. And he's getting asked questions like, so does this mean there's going to be an ICE-style response? And he's like, no, except that the whole policy is, well, if you don't abide, if we'll basically make the values test enforceable, right? Yeah. But then Angus and Jono are out there saying, well, but we're not going to enforce it. Like, so, okay. Yeah. So you want to take, like, the existing test. Like, the test is already there. The test already exists. Like, you already have to sign the form and say that you believe that fucking women should be allowed to have OnlyFans and there are multiple genders. And so now we're going to take that and we're going to say, well, if we catch you not abiding by this, like, then we're going to kick you out. But then they're going on ABC, and when they're asked, well, are there going to be guys in ski masks pulling people out of their homes?
Oh, no, we're not
because... Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Well, this is where the Liberals have fallen down. Like, what the Liberals should have said is, yes, we are going to do ICE. Yep. We are going to do ski masks. We are going to do paintball guns. And if you do not agree with Australian values and you're on this list of countries, we're pulling you out of your bed and we're going to kick you the fuck out. If you don't say that, then what the fuck was the point of the announcement? Like, oh, we're going to make it enforceable, but we're not going to have anyone to enforce it? Like, what the fuck is the point of that? That's the dumbest, most redundant policy I've ever heard. Like, And it's only going to apply. Like, I think one of the guys on Twitter today, one of the Finbro Anons actually calculated it and said that it's only going to apply to 9% of all Australian migrants.
Yeah. It feels like a staffer in his office, like, just put a prompt in and was like, right wing migration policy that isn't too right wing. Make no mistakes.
Yeah, but not too right wing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like, and then it just
like they loaded you and I into ChatGPT and said, like, turn down the top P setting to like 2, like just turn down the temperature a little bit. That's what they did. Gay.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just the dumbest policy. Unfortunately, I mean, I think like this could have been a real turning point for One Nation on the immigration stuff, but instead, One Nation are coming out of a weekend where all they did was talk about how they hired a rapist. And today, all they're doing is talking about season 4 of their cartoon, which is like just.
Yeah, it was a loss. It was a missed opportunity, right? They could have just come out and they could have done what we're doing, right? But to a national audience, which is like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They could have just ripped the fucking guts out of it and said, this is it's too little. I don't like. It's not even one of those ones where you say, okay, well, it's something, but like it's not enough. Like, it's actually a policy that I think is not even worth doing because, like, it's a fake policy. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Who are you getting excited about this, right? Like, if you're a migrant, well, then you're not going to vote for the coalition because they're now making overtures towards anti-migrant sentiment, right?
Do you know who's getting excited about this?
This just pisses you off.
The people who are getting excited about this policy that Angus Taylor has announced are Indian migrants, because they're looking at it saying, "Oh, we can kick out all the Pakistanis."
Yeah.
That's what this policy is.
Yeah,
like, it's like, even when he's trying to do a based anti-migration announcement, he's still just one of you guys put it in the chat. The grab from his press release where it says, like, in cooperation with migration agents. His policy. Yeah. Oh, because he had to get Paul Saar and fucking who's the other guy? Tim Waltz. I've stopped even remembering their names. Like, maybe like a month of TLDs ago, I would have remembered his name, but now I can't even remember his name.
When you said Paul Saar for a brief
Paul
moment,
Saar and Tim Waltz, whoever that guy is. Yeah,
someone in Paul Saar's office really follows a lot of our content.
100%. Yeah. Because I noticed remember that time when I think back when the Nazis were like doing, God's work, ratioing Anthony Albanese, because we're niche micro celebrities, we were just ratioing Paul Saar. That was our contribution.
We were just going.
That was our contribution to Australian nationalism. Like when Joel Davis was on Twitter, he's doing like 10,000 likes on a 100 like Albanese post, and Brian and I are there going, "Yeah, we're gonna ratio Paul Saar today."
Hey, whatever, we bullied him to lock his account down.
We did bully him off Twitter. Like, we did actually get him off Twitter, and Anthony Albanese is still on Twitter, but also Anthony Albanese put Joel Davis in prison. So I guess, if Paul Saar had been Prime Minister, he probably would have put you and I in prison for that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's only one community that is happy about this. It just... it's not going to move the dial. Nothing's going to change. Like,
nothing's going to change with that, right?
And at some point, they're going to realize that this ain't working, and then they're going to try something else. And
I'm loath, and you know how much this pains me, but I'm loath to admit it. But there is actually only one party in Australia right now that has a coherent immigration policy that I 100% endorse, and it is and I'm going to specify it is only the New South Wales Libertarians under John Ruddock. They're the only ones who've stated an immigration policy that I endorse, which is 5-year pause.
Yeah.
5-year pause. No fucking around. We're just not going to have any more for 5 years. Right?
Yeah.
And we'll come up with a solution on the unis, and we'll come up with a solution on key workers, which may or may not involve robots. But 5 years, right? That's the policy. And I just
look,
think,
oh, it doesn't. I've heard people say it doesn't go far enough. It's like, okay, whatever, sure.
fuck off, dude. We're saying we have no migrants for 5 fucking years. What do you mean it's not going to be far enough? Half of these guys are going to die of meth overdoses in 5 years. Fuck you, right? 5 years, no migrants, right?
I think
and
what I would say
argue with me on
like the way that you know that policy is directionally correct is that the rest of the Libertarian Party fucking hates it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. John Ruddock's probably just going into those like libertarian conferences, just getting absolutely raped by guys with their motions about lowering the age of consent.
Yeah.
Apologies to any New South Wales libertarians in the chat. You know I love you, but I also like to mock you for the whole age of consent thing.
Yeah, I love you, but like stay away from my family.
Yeah, I love you guys. I love you guys because John is a good guy, and John was the only guy brave enough to go into that last campaign with a coherent immigration policy. But also, please stop talking about the age of consent. We don't want to hear it, right? But that's the policy. Like, just do 5-year pause, right? And the 5-year pause can be the trigger for all the other policies on education, on skills, like. Yeah. And also, like, one of the good things that has come out of Angus's bullshit today is, like, I am seeing a lot of posts on Twitter today talking about how low the skilled migration cohort contribution to productivity really is. Like, I saw one guy did a really good piece on it today where he basically said that only 24% of people coming in even have a skill. And that the majority, so it's people who come in with a skill, and then it's family visas, then it's spouse visas, then it's plus student visas. So out of the entire and then once you break those down into skills that you could ever in a pinch say that you needed, it got down to like 9%.
Yeah, exactly. There is going to be an inquiry into productivity, and I'm happy to say that I've been invited to give some evidence at that. So I will be attending and making the argument that actually none of it matters, and that GDP
do it via video link, but put in my David Lynch background just as a little like wink and a nudge to the SOC audience.
I'll just play the SOC intro video as my opening statement.
just open with another scene out of Coriolanus. Yeah. So what are they trying to get at with the productivity thing?
I mean, look, there's Andrew Bragg, I think, is on the inquiry, and he just thinks that if Excel sheet number bigger, then that means everything more gooder. There's a couple of people who obviously have differing opinions, and the Greens just want Project Zimbabwe and all that kind of stuff. And I've been asked to give our thoughts on behalf of Revive Australia, so I'll attend. And I mean, it's not going to be very complicated. My argument is effectively that we get to a point where GDP actually doesn't matter, and
that'll be good. When you do it, we might have to do a stream of consciousness like midday live stream where we jump in, like when Drew like live streams like another live stream. Like we might have to do that. I actually know how to do that now. I figured it out. Like, since you gave me the password to StreamYard, I actually know how to do it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, do it. I'll let you know the time and stuff once it's all locked in and confirmed. But it's gonna be good. Going to be good. I'll make my submission public as well.
And just try and get what the audience wants to see is we want a Star Wars people reference somehow. Like, I mean, you don't have to say Star Wars people, but you have to make some oblique reference to Star Wars, and then you have to say stay conscious. If you could squeeze in like something about sock puppets or sociopaths.
Okay.
Like just drop it in there, just so we can do an edit where like we'll just do an edit with like a smash cut of you with like laser eyes going and play the intro music.
Yeah, Mos Eisley Cantina.
Mos Eisley Cantina. If you can get the Mos Eisley Cantina,
got to get it on the Hansard.
I'm
looking forward to it. Look, jokes aside, I will be serious approaching the inquiry. And just trying to make the best case that I can for a lot of the things that we're trying to prosecute here.
Yeah. Well, it's good someone is, man. Like, and this is the kind of stuff that matters. Like, you know,
Exactly.
I mean, what else can we do over the next 2 years? You know, like the federal campaign is not going to start till 2028. State campaigns are all over the fucking shop. I mean, who the fuck knows what's going to happen in Victoria? New South Wales is just going to be a fucking Labor washout. Mind you, there's some weird shit going on in Labor, man. Some really weird shit.
Yeah, but like, it seems like they're just going to have infinity terms down in Victoria. You know, Jess Wilson's just going to have to keep doing swimming videos or something in the hopes that wins the election, which it won't.
It's really not. Like, I mean, I'm in group chats with some of the thirstiest moderate liberal staffers in the country, and if it's not titillating them, I mean, these are the guys who are pro Kelly Sloan, right? Yeah, like these guys are like all over Kelly Sloan. Like, it's doing like mommy memes like every time she appeared. So if going for a swim in the pool isn't getting those guys excited enough to go down to Victoria and campaign for you, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Have guys in the chat, because I'm not looking at X right now. Have we heard anything about the Peter Credlin rumors? Is it total Kroger death? What's going on with? Maybe that's our new one. Maybe now that we've already got TLD, we're just going to roll through the factional warlords. So we'll do TKD, TPD.
Peter doesn't even have to pay me. I'll do it just for the laughs.
Yeah. I just want Michael Photius to end up running the entire Liberal Party nationwide. Like, let's just get Peter.
It would be quite funny.
Yeah, it would be funny. Bully Pulpit say, I'm pretty sure TKD is something else. Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah, we might not.
Yeah, we've got to cool it with the remarks.
Yeah. I only just realized. Yeah. I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit. We don't want to fuck up, because have you noticed, like, since I didn't tell you actually, you weren't online, but so I went to promote our do the usual stream promotion tonight, and initially I thought I'd been blocked from promoting the stream, but in the latest round of X algo changes, they've actually got rid of the quick promote feature.
Oh,
so
you try
the feature. So the feature we were using to just get like 50,000 views just for bragging rights, which I enjoyed doing, like $150 so I could just mog Avi Yemeni was just like, that's a fantastic use of $150.
Well, the thing is, like, we've got like nearly, well, hang on. We're close to 16,000 Revive subscribers now. I might just email them like the night of the stream, right, as a scheduled email.
Yeah. You know what though? So tonight, like, just completely organically with zero promo, and we're on. And you're not even live streaming this, by the way. Like, this
no,
is
I completely boomed it and forgot to pay the StreamYard bill this week, so it didn't let me stream it. I just completely.
So we've got 1,400 just completely raw dogging it, which is like double what we used to get raw dogging. But I bet any money tomorrow when I go into analytics and have a look at like the minutes watched. So minutes watched is the metric you gotta pay attention to. I bet we get the same minutes watched out of this as we used to get, because like so many of those old views were just like people scrolling past and it would tick up. But yeah, they've got rid of that, unfortunately.
No, it's starting to get a lot better in terms of like total watch hours and all that kind of stuff. This is the part where Enoch starts losing his mind because we're talking about like view counts. he just appeared in the comments saying,
"Yeah."
Sorry.
This is the meta part of the show, dude. The show has a rhythm, right? It's like a beginning and middle and end.
It goes off the rails, right? And it's roughly
we do serious politics at the beginning, we do funny politics in the middle, and then we talk about ourselves. And then sometimes, like, I'll throw in like, "Oh, how's my sex life going?" or, you know, what anime have I been watching? Actually, okay, but I'm not going to get into it. Or talk about like pop culture and stuff, which I've already done, which I talked about like how much I liked Euphoria this week. Actually, speaking of pop culture, one thing I was really into this week. Did anyone catch Nine Inch Nails and Boys Noise at Coachella?
No. I'm gonna have to give that a watch.
As a Gen X, as like a fucking like contemporary, that's one of the greatest fucking live performances I've ever watched in my fucking life.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I'll give it a
it's
watch.
absolutely, like, it's worth it. Like, you can I think I retweeted it the other day, but someone pirated it and put it online because you got to like pay for like watch Coachella live. I think
there'll be some
like watch it on fucking Disney or something. I don't know.
Dude, someone will have uploaded it to Pornhub.
Yeah. Did we do the Australian Pornhub ban when that happened? Because that was a few weeks ago. I don't know. I think we did it, but yeah, I mean, I guess we don't have many gooners in the chat.
No, it is an eclectic bunch. Like the sock puppets are interesting. They're like chuds, but not gooners.
Yeah, they're chuds, but not gooners. We've got some. We do have some like NSN exiles from Rumble.
Really?
We have like, we have 3 girls. We have Bruce Lehrman. We do have definitely a eclectic mix of regulars who come on and watch it. But yeah,
that's funny.
But
that's funny.
What else even happened in the last week? I haven't been paying attention because I've been doing
a slow week.
Fucking
like seriously, it's been a nothing week. Other than the BRS stuff, like that was just the media cycle and the dividing issue. And it's only going to get worse. But everything else.
Well, we've had Iran. We've had the chaos. We've had oil, like fuel. Like, yeah, that's been a thing.
Yeah, I'm probably.
I got into that last week. I think.
Look, I'm probably going to piss off a lot of the don't get into foreign entanglement gropers when I say this. If I was America, I'd just nuke them, and not because I support endless foreign wars in the Middle East. My argument is once you start a conflict, you have to win it, and you have to win it decisively.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're not willing,
100%.
And the reason you have to do that is because your place as the global empire is predicated on the perception that you will completely rip the faces off anyone who tries to tries to undermine that, whether that be BRICS or anything like that, right? And so we can argue back and forth until the cows come home as to whether or not they should have gone into Iran, and I totally agree with the concerns around that. Once they're in, you have to win, because if you don't, you enable this entire BRICS move, which will accelerate Project Zimbabwe for the Greater West. So, if I was America, if I'm not willing to commit boots on the ground because I don't want young white guys getting killed in another Middle East war, just nuke them.
Well, it's like you're 100% right, and I actually in my like lengthy and overwrought monologue that I did before you jumped on, I actually made some notes about things I was going to talk about. Read Ben Robert Smith, and one of the things I wrote was, the most immoral thing you can do in a war is lose, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what, whatever atrocities you have to commit to win, pale in comparison to the moral consequences for your own people should you lose.
Exactly.
And so that goes to what you just said about what the Americans should be doing. Like, there's no red line when it comes to the future of, of Western civilization.
And I'll probably
we have to win this. We have to win it.
Exactly.
And that goes to like my favorite.
We can then hold to account people who maybe we view as starting unnecessary wars. Sure, that's a totally different thing, right? This is the real
which is exactly what happened. Which is exactly what happened in the United States after the last round of unnecessary wars, right? So,
to give a brainlet example, right? If I was out at the pub and then my mate started an unnecessary fight, right? Well, then you need to get the fight out of the way. And then afterwards, you'll probably slap your mate for starting the fight unnecessarily, right?
Yeah.
This is a complete brainlet take, but at a geopolitical level, I think it's the same.
But isn't this exactly
and I think America's going to go back in. I think this entire 2 weeks thing is all kayfabe. I think that they are just rotating assets and forces, and they will go back in. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't know, man. I'm kind of worried about it. Just watching markets in the last couple of days. Unfortunately, I think Buyback Capital's bailed on us, but like he's a really good person to ask about it. Like, I think maybe just from my what you don't watch what Trump says, watch what the markets say when Trump says it. Right? There's a reason why every major announcement on Iran is being made in the middle of the fucking night or at like 11 o'clock at night on an airport runway. It's so they can massage it for when markets open at 9. And you know, for most of the war, for the last 30 or 40 odd days, markets have reacted really well, but they're not reacting well in the last couple of days. So I think there is cause to be concerned. But back to that whole point about how, you know, you have to win. There's no other option than winning, and you know, you square up at the end of it. Like, that is exactly what happened in the United States between 2012 and 2016, right? In 2012, the Americans were going, okay, well, we killed Osama bin Laden. What the fuck are we still doing over there? Then Benghazi happened. We're still in the sandpit wars. Then we're in Syria, and everyone's losing their fucking minds. There's body bags coming home. Everyone fucking hates it. So they had the reckoning, right? Like, I feel like maybe, hopefully on some level, that's what Trump is thinking. Like, I'm just going to get this out of the way now, and then we can have the reckoning at the next election, and like we'll see which way it goes.
The cope I'm seeing, and I'm seeing in the comments at the moment, like some people are saying, "Oh, well, like, you know, Iran's military has been annihilated." Or yes, sure, but at the outset of this conflict, the Americans set their own metrics for success, which was change the regime, keep the Strait open. Right. The regime still exists. Well, the Strait is closed. It doesn't matter if they've lost infinity gorillion boats or if they don't have a functioning air force. Maybe the country will collapse at some point and then turn into fallout. If they can still just have, you know, a bunch of Tusken Raiders keeping the Strait closed, it still is viewed as a loss for the US empire, which is why I'm just like, mate, you started the war. You got to finish it, and if that means
you got to fucking finish it, you have to eliminate Iran's ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. And my only confidence early on in the war was I was hoping that this was a play by the Americans, because long term we end up in kinetic war with China over Taiwan, right? And if you're doing that, so if we end up in the kinetic war with China over Taiwan, the thing that will compound that to hell and back is if Iran is still able to close the Strait of Hormuz at that point. So I thought, and I now believe I probably thought wrongly, that what America was really doing was effectively like smoking out Iran and saying, okay, well, we're going to fucking just kill the Ayatollah, because post-Venezuela, we know they can just do that now. Like, that is one of the coolest things about America. Like, they can just kill your leader. Not saying that they should do that here, but like, I don't know, like maybe it'll come to that. But actually, this is a thing you probably shouldn't say on air. But with Iran, I thought they was going to go in there and smoke them out and get them to close Hormuz, and then eliminate Iran's ability to ever do it again. And say, well, now we can if anything happens in Taiwan, or if anything, you know, goes fucking pear-shaped in Ukraine, at least we don't have to worry about Iran closing the Strait, because we've already had the Strait closed and already resolved the Strait being closed at a time when it didn't matter. And it doesn't matter to America right now. Like, America has never been so flushed with oil. Like, forget about the fucking oil futures, fucking oil long ETFs or whatever. Look at Bowser prices in the United States. Right? They're up, but they're not up like ours are. They're not up like they are in the UK. The Americans did this at the exact right time to avoid another Iranian oil crisis, right? Like they had in the late 1960s, late 1970s. So I thought that was their plan. Like, do it now, then get the Strait open, and then fuck Iran so they can never do it again. And that way, you can just basically say to the entire fucking world, like, what are you going to do? You can say to China, and you can say to Russia, you're fucked now. We now know, post Venezuela and also post the opening salvos of Iran, that Russia and China's ability to interdict American stealth technology fucking sucks. Right? China's best anti-stealth radar works by exploding when a stealth fighter flies over it. So we now know that they are no threat to the American military. In fact, there's probably going to be papers coming out in the next few months where American military analysts are going to say, hey, we could probably take out their entire nuclear arsenal before they have a chance to press go.
Do something.
Right. So we now know that about the capacity of the Russians and Chinese to defend themselves against American aggression, because the Russians and Chinese have been sending their best equipment to Venezuela and Iran.
Yes, we can get,
and we know it, and so now we know it sucks, right?
But not even. But the thing is, like, not even by top tier stuff. Like in Venezuela, the Chinese equipment was overwhelmed by growlers. It wasn't even stealth. Yeah,
but dude, that's probably all it takes. And like, when you read the shit that comes out of the Australian government, when we phased out the FA-18s and then we kept the growlers while we were acquiring the F-35s, like, it's all in black and white. Like, those things are fucking beasts. Like, they fly into your airspace. They can, like, read your Snapchats to local prostitutes on your phone. Like, there's a fucking weapons officer in the back of an FA-18, like, flying over you going, yeah, this guy's a freak. Like, the level of technology is absolutely incredible. And they've got these new E-bombs that they can just drop and just say, okay, you don't have power and telecommunications anymore. And they can just fly F-35s through your airspace with impunity. They can fly those B-2s or soon the B-21s and just nuke anything they fucking want. But the problem is, that's all well and good, but if you want hot Iranian ethos to be on OnlyFans, you need to put boots on the ground. That's the only thing that's going to change the regime. Yeah, like, it's just, unfortunately, sure, you can fly into Venezuela and you can kidnap Maduro and, everything goes okay. But this is a bigger job. You've actually got to change the regime. And I noticed this the other day. Like one of my biggest, but to bring it back to Australian politics, like, one of my biggest bugbears about this is because I watch too much ABC. Like, I have the fucking ABC 24 on all day. And it's like, when you watch these guys, it's like our own state-funded broadcaster wants Iran to win. It's the most disgusting fucking thing. Like, I was not even one of these.
This is what I'm saying, though. This is all part of the pivot. Like, I feel like BRICS is just going to become like BRICSA, right? And we'll just be part of it.
Yeah, maybe that could be our post-TLD thing, BRICSA.
BRICSA. Yeah. That's it. That can be the new schizo theory that we just
let's get guys. We like, for those of you who are still up, we want to get BRICSers in the chat now. So it's just BRICS A.
I'm gonna have to bounce soon. I'm getting the ball with this freaking man flu, but we'll go a little bit longer.
No, it's all good, man. I'll bail in half an hour. I'll go at 10:30, or maybe BRICSans. Like, get the New Zealander nons in there as well. BRICSA, yeah. It looks good. Bully Bullpit just posted it. It looks good. It looks aesthetic. I like it.
It does. It does. I just, something's going on there. We sort of spoke about it at the beginning when I jumped on, and I guess I need to. I find when I drive around, I'm good at sort of brooding and getting my schizo theories going. So I might go for a drive tomorrow and try and crystallize it a little bit more, because the fuckery meter is really going up at the moment.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right, you go recover from the man flu. I'll cover off on what's left of the chat, and then I'll bail out of here at 10:30.
See you guys. Stay conscious. Good to see you, mate.
See you, mate. Jack Lancer put in the chat before. You hear about the CIA tech used to find the fighter was Mission Impossible stuff. Yeah, it's because it's this ghost murmur thing. Absolutely fucking incredible. They can now find your heartbeat using a satellite. That is so fucking cool. I love that. Okay, we got some TLDs in the chat now. So the new one. So we're post TLD now. So SOC is now post TLD. TLD is not dead, but TLD is being phased out in favor of Brixer. So, but we've got a new schizo theory that's what they're trying to do. Anthony Albanese is going to have us join BRICS, which sucks, except for the Brazil part. I might be okay with the Brazil part. I don't know. I am single. I reckon if we had like unfettered immigration with Brazil, though, like Abby Chatfield's really going to be changing her tune. Hannah Ferguson, all those Foyds are going to be losing their minds. Sebastian says Brixer is not cool. Okay, well, we'll find another way to articulate it. Green Goblin says One Nation to 30% still on track. Yeah, good question, man. I'm a bit less bullish on One Nation 30% after the last couple of days. This thing about how they handled the fact that they hired the guy that literally did those rapes is problematic for them. I don't know. I think they're gonna. They just need to get their shit together, right? They just need one guy. Like John Howard had like one guy he had two guys or three guys, including Sinodinos. Like, okay, One Nation needs three guys, right? They need an Arthur Sinodinos type guy. They need a Tony Nutt type guy. And they need Max the Axe, Max Moore Wilton type guy. They just got to find those three types of guys. And then they might be able to pull it off. But Lockie's trying to get it to Brixer. Yeah, but then you can't see the China in it. Maybe the X could stand for like Zhenjuan or something. Yeah. Someone in the chat, one of our YouTube viewers, Sirjan, just said, how would you have handled hiring a rapist? Well, I wouldn't have. I would have simply not hired them. Barnaby Joyce kind of fucked it on Monday because he went out and he said, oh, well, everyone needs a redemption arc. And look, to an extent, that's true. Like under the Westminster, like under our rule of law, sure, you do your time, you get out, you've served it, you know, you should be free and clear of that stuff. And that's all well and good if you want a job at Bunnings, but not if you want to run the political party responsible for saving the entire country from the tyranny of managerial democracy. Like, that's the problem, right? Like, sure, like, look, and the same goes for James Ashby. The same goes for anyone, including me, for that matter. Like, I've never been convicted of a crime, but my background's not exactly fucking spotless. But why do you think I don't? Why do you think I do this shit and I don't fucking campaign to get myself a job back in politics? It's because it's too fucking important, man. This period of history that we're going into is way too fucking important for one random guy on $150,000 a year as a staffer to derail it. And look, good on One Nation for getting rid of him now. And I really think News Corporation and the Australian did them a massive solid by kind of mounting a campaign on it and forcing Hanson to get rid of him now, because I just think that could have become a massive fucking problem during the campaign. But yeah, I don't know. Surely there's got to be guys out there who can do those jobs without having those skeletons in the closet. Well, not even skeletons in the closet. There's skeletons sitting on the front porch. But it does kind of reflect a lot of the stuff we hear about One Nation. Like, they are, and to their credit in a way, like they are super loyal to their people because there's just so few of them. I mean, you know, One Nation have spent, and this is, I think, the thing we probably all forget after the last 12 months, 18 months, is One Nation spent like 20 fucking years in the 4% wilderness. And so I guess for them, the guys that stuck by them through the 4% wilderness period are, no matter how useless and rapey they are probably a lot more valuable to them emotionally than anyone with any talent who could come in now. And I can't really dispute that. Like, honestly, if I was in their position, like if I'd been working, plugging away, I mean, not that they've really been working that hard, but like if I'd been in there for 20 years on 4% and then one day I wake up and it's 25%, I would do the exact same thing these guys are doing now and preference the guys who were with me when I was at 4%. But I think where they failed is you have to be kind of smart about that and say, well, why were these guys with us when we were at 4%? Maybe this particular guy was with you at 4% because he was a convicted rapist who couldn't get a job anywhere else. Like, that didn't occur to anyone. Like, but anyway, hopefully they sort their shit out. I just live in hope that they sort their shit out, because I'm really not seeing any other solutions right now other than One Nation. Enoch's in the chat, everyone's favorite capybara. He says that is a bit intolerant. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe I should be more tolerant. Guys got convicted. Yeah. Aristocrat de Coombe says, I'll save ONP. They call me the Coombe cop. I think they probably like that, actually. Yeah. Bully Pulpit says these things always have a large change in roster. I mean, like, the history of Australian politics is not always, man. Not always. Like, the early bird catches the worm in Australian politics. And so those early adopters of One Nation, the guys who were sitting there when they were doing the 4% polls, they're probably going to do a lot better than you and I. Sebastian says redemption is definitely possible, but you need to also think about optics. Look, for me, it's not about so much about optics. It's just about the fact that you can't have the distraction, right? And you also just have to think about how good these guys even are at their jobs. Like, for me, the biggest problem with that guy would not have been the offense. It would have been the fact that he was out of commission for actually quite a long while. Like, the guy's older than me, but he hasn't been working as long as me. And why hasn't he been working as long as me? Because he was fucking fighting a rape charge for all those years, and then he was in prison. So, yeah, you probably just shouldn't hide him in the first place. But these guys were not ever great at judgment. Green Goblin says, do you really think New South Wales election is a Labor washout? I think New South Wales Labor is in their coastal regional seats will be shitting themselves. Oh, they are, dude. The interesting thing about Labor, and I think I mentioned this last time we did a show, is all their guys I talk to, and obviously most of my friends in Labor are from Labor right, predictably. They are shitting themselves, but not for the reason you think. They're shitting themselves because they're looking at the polls and they can see that One Nation's ascendancy and TLD are going to result in Labor left winning dozens, if not big dozens. I'm not saying hundreds, but like a lot of seats around the country at a state and federal level over the next 2 years, right? Because traditionally, in every state except for Victoria, Labor left have been shitty idiots that no one cared about. And so in all the hard luck seats that Liberals did well in, Labor left would have the branches, Labor left would put up their losers to run on micro margins, and no one cared about them. But we are now coming into a period where the declining Liberal primary and the ascending One Nation primary with zero movement in the Labor primary in those seats is going to result in elections where, sure, Labor right are going to lose some key seats. Like in New South Wales, Labor right are under real threat in the Hunter Valley and in the Central Coast. But they will very likely pick up seats in the Hills district, in the northern suburbs of Sydney, and maybe one or two in the west and southwest of Sydney, right? And those candidates will be from Labor left. And what Labor right are losing their shit over which everyone forgets, is that Labor Party policy is not set by the leader, it is set by the state and national conferences. And the delegates to state and national conferences are stacked in favour of the factional balance in the parliamentary party. So One Nation is very likely over the next 3 to 4 years going to change the factional matrix of Labor around the country. Now, Labor left are already ascendant in Canberra because they own the Prime Minister and they've got Victoria. But they don't have New South Wales, although they're on a knife's edge, and they don't have Tasmania, and they don't have Queensland, and they don't have South Australia. Well, actually, now they do have South Australia, and they don't have WA. But as these elections roll over, and more of these hard luck Liberal seats, which were previously safe Liberal seats, which are about to become contests with One Nation, where Labor will end up picking them up, because, like, you know, what, especially in jurisdictions like New South Wales, where you have optional preferential, it's going to change the state. It's going to change the makeup of state conference, right? So that's a serious fucking issue for the entire country because, you know, look, I spent my entire working life fighting against the Labor Party. And because of that, I have nothing but respect for the Australian Labor Party, right? I have zero respect for the Liberals. I fucking think they're idiots. But I respect the Labor Party, even if I don't agree with them. And there are so many things that have happened in our country over the last 2 decades that I know full well could have been so much worse if it wasn't for specifically the right wing of the ALP, who kept people in check and kept our country on the right course, weathered political storms, maintained some kind of commitment to a functioning economy, particularly in the wake of the global financial crisis in 2008, even extending to that period where Gillard was Prime Minister and she had to keep the right happy. Like, there are so many things that you can point to at a state and federal level where Labor right kind of kept everything on an even keel. And my biggest fear for the country, I mean, look, I don't believe there's really any hope of One Nation running the country in 2028. But I do have this genuine fear that if we come out of 2028 with Labor left running the Australian Labor Party, things can get so fucking bad, right? You have no idea how bad it's going to get. Because if you think of every dumb fucking thing Labor have done at a state and federal level over the last few years, and now imagine there wasn't a closet Catholic conservative with numbers in the SDA in the background holding the leash, right? Imagine how much worse it could have been, you know. And it's sad in a way. Like, I just don't think a lot of it, I mean, and maybe they don't want the credit, but I really think for conservative politics in this country, probably Labor have done more for conservative politics in this country in the last 20 years than the Liberals ever did, you know. So that's the big risk with One Nation. Like, yeah. What have we got there? More sage lumpen analysis from the Hagrid of Australian politics. All right, dude, you start your own stream, man. I'll tune in. Just don't do it on a Tuesday. Don't do it now. Yeah, we got Tas State Labor Conference this weekend. Albanese's coming down to Tasmania. Since I do this stream, and I actually have the most Twitter followers of anyone in Tasmania, which is a hilarious piece of analysis I recently acquired. So if I'm being a bit like circumspect online this week, it's mostly because I don't want to get a visit from the AFP before Albanese lands in Tasmania. In fact, I might even just drive to the other side of Tasmania before he gets here. If the AFP are watching this right now, I will not be anywhere near Albanese when he's here. I promise. What is it? 10:19. How are we going to wrap up the show? What else fun happened this week? Not much. If any of you are watching from Tasmania, our big news this week is we've got the potential ban of the greyhounds going on. So, if you haven't written to your local member supporting your local greyhound club, please do. It's an issue that's very close to my heart and my bank balance. And that's about it, guys. I think that's it. Thank you for tuning in. We did okay, 1,500. That's all right. Iron Deficiency Anima says best is in flavor. Hey, I actually met Iron Deficiency Anima the other week. Didn't you was it you that gave me those pineapple zins? The pina colada ones? They were actually really good. So thank you. All right, guys. It's been fun. Stay conscious. We'll be back this time next Tuesday. I will look forward to seeing you then. All right, see you guys.